Hey, what's going on, world? It's your main man, Tommy, on the spot. Welcome to another edition of Disney 101. Thank you so much for checking us out today. A very special edition of Disney 101, as I've got my man Steve on the other line. How's it going today, Steve?
Magical as always.
What's that?
Magical as always.
Ah, there we go. There we go. It's so great to be back here talking with all of you guys here. A very special edition of the show today. Last week, we had our Labor Day edition where we talked about our favorite sit-down restaurants in Walt Disney World. Today, we're going to kind of pick up where we left off a little bit, but we're going to talk about our favorite places to drink in Walt Disney World. And Steve, how's your week been?
It's been good. I think the kids are finally accepting the fact that they're back at school and back to school until May. So everybody is kind of settled in, and all of their personalities are really starting to come out. So it's been really interesting.
Sure, yeah. And I mean, I'm sure it's also awkward because they probably have friends and family who are not in school if they know people from around, wherever, that are, because, New York schools just started last week. It's been commuter hell ever since that occurred. But the schools are back, and in doing so, traffic is about at its absolute worst. But it is just the beauty of living in New York City. So I guess what can you do, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to complain about traffic in New York City, you might as well move to, I don't know, Florida.
Right, exactly. Find a new place to go, I suppose. A new place to live. But it's been a fun little while here. Fun to sad in a way to say goodbye to the summer, but at the same time, it's good to head, I guess, to the fall, the kickoff of football season, and we're just about a month away from Halloween. How is it down there in the parks, as now you guys are sitting right in the middle of Halloween season, right in the middle of Food and Wine? How has it been down in Orlando?
I mean, Orlando really hasn't. We haven't seen any real pickup. I mean, Epcot's going to get busy on the weekends. It's going to get busier. But other than that, I don't really see an uptick in tourism. If anything, it's gone decreased now, especially now that a lot of places up north have gone back to school. So we have a lot less tourists now. So it's actually better for us.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, it's a fun time. At the same time, though, at least here in New York now, each and every day, we start to get a little bit, we get a little lighter earlier, which I'm sure you guys don't have that issue. But are you guys in the area where the big hurricane is coming, or are you guys kind of below where that area is supposed to hit?
Thankfully, right now, knock on wood, we are not in their path. I don't think it's even supposed to really hit Florida at this point. It's like if it does turn south, which everyone sounds like it might do now, the most south I think it's going to hit is maybe Georgia and South Carolina. So hopefully, as of right now, we're out of its path.
Yeah, my thoughts are with all the folks that are, staying down there and have to stay down there to brave the storm. If you can get out, obviously listen to the folks that are telling you, if they're telling you to evacuate, not the time to be a tough guy. If it's an option, get out of town, get out of Dodge, and stay safe to everyone out there. All right, well, this week we are going to get in. It's a little bit of a happy hour edition, I guess, or a little bit of a head home from work edition of Disney 101. We're going to get into our favorite places to drink here at Walt Disney World. But before we do, there is some bit of news that we want to get into about the parks. And there was some big news that I know you shared with me about a new attraction coming to the Magic Kingdom.
So it's not going to be. So it is the release of the new hyper reality experience, the Ralph Breaks VR experience, but it's not going in the Stitch's Great Escape location like everybody was kind of rumored for it to be going to. It's actually going. It sounds like it's going to be in Disney Springs next to the current attraction there, which is the Void. It's a Star Wars experience. So I'm trying to find the actual name for it, the full thing. Star Wars Secrets of the Empire. But it does, so it sounds like it might be going there or might not. So, I mean, I would love for it to go inside the Magic Kingdom because hopefully then that means that you don't have to pay extra for it.
Right.
but like hopefully. But if it does go next to the Star Wars Void, I would gladly pay as much as I paid for Star Wars to go and check out this Wreck-It Ralph experience because it sounds really cool.
Right, right, and I do recall I was confused because they were saying they were going to leave everything the way it was, but in the article they had mentioned they were going to be kind of adding a virtual reality exhibit. And to me, what it kind of sounds like is to continue to add these virtual reality attractions in Disney Springs. I wonder if at some point that's going to become something that you can buy a pass to all of the different virtual reality exhibits for like one flat rate.
I'm sure. I mean, I would imagine that they could do some sort of price break if you do both of them. I mean,
yeah, I mean, because right now, what is the price point if you go for just the Star Wars one?
So the Star Wars one, hold please.
And you've done that one, right?
Yeah, it was really cool. Like they hook you up and you look exact, you are like full on stormtrooper, and the person, anybody that's with you is, it felt like the old, like Qzar laser tag packs that they kind of put on you, because you have the chest thing and like the chest armor, I guess, kind of, and you have the whole VR helmet headset and everything, and it weighs a little bit, but it's to make sure that you're kind of geared up and that all of your senses are kind of in line with the experience. So the Star Wars Secrets of the Empire is $30 a person.
Well, that's not that bad. I mean, that sounds pretty cool. Now, but I remember from when you went on it, you had mentioned it was a little shorter than you would, I guess, necessarily want, right?
It was a little bit shorter than I expected it to be, but that may have also been my experience with this is so cool, I never want it to end. And then I guess, that kind of thing, whenever it does kind of end, you'd always kind of think that it was short. I think at the time I thought it was short because you only interacted with a couple of different things. Like you walked around and there was a decent part of the area to navigate, but the way that they hyped it up, it sounded like there were supposed to be more things to navigate and like to interact with.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think, and obviously the new Wreck-It Ralph Breaks VR, I believe is the rumored name, or I don't know. It seems like it's not even a rumored name. It seems like it's going to be happening in fall of 2018 in conjunction with the next Wreck-It Ralph film, right?
Yeah, and especially because in the promo poster, there's the bunny and the kitty from the Pancakes Milkshake game that they kind of show for like 10 seconds in the trailer.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So this is kind of them show, yeah, and it is pretty cool that Disney's starting to make these types of attractions that go in conjunction with the newer movies that come out, because you got to figure it is a great thing if somebody has the option. Let's say there's a great movie that comes out, like this past summer, the Incredibles 2 just like completely blew up, and they were really quick on getting the Incredibles coaster up and at them at Disneyland when they changed California Screamin' over to the Incredibles coaster. And that makes a lot of sense, and that's pretty cool if you consider that, folks are really excited about something. It makes sense for them to be able to go to the park and see, even when we went down to WDW, to be able to see they had the Incredibles summer and all the characters from the Incredibles were coming back and forth and just all around the parks while you were there. So it's good that Disney's kind of trying to co-brand that a bit and get people excited and kind of strike while they are on top.
Yeah, and I think they kind of learned their lesson with not that Frozen wasn't also a huge success when everything ended up coming to the parks, but it took a lot longer than anticipated to get everything, to get the Frozen ride made and the meet and greets, kind of a little bit more permanent, I guess you could say. So I think that it's all those things, they're trying to get ahead and kind of say, okay, and this is going to, we know that these movies, or we know this big event is coming down the pipeline. So let's try and get ahead and like get prepared so that whatever we're planning for it is going to open. Because we know, for example, like the Guardians of the Galaxy attraction, we know that Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be, or at least until recently, with all the James Gunn going on, who knows? But, there was, we know that Marvel in and of itself is going to be around for a while, so let's try and get that out as soon as we can.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when they had actually released the Frozen attraction I don't even think it was the Frozen attraction. I think it was like there was a meet and greet for the Frozen characters that they got out like a little bit after the movie had been released, and it was like a huge line. Like it almost felt like they were caught so off guard with the popularity of Frozen, with what they kind of had to scramble and try to figure out something. Because I remember the lines for the meet and greets from when Anna and Elsa, Princess Anna, and Elsa were doing the first meet and greets they had. The lines were like astronomically ridiculous. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and I'm a Wreck-It Ralph guy, so I would enjoy those different types of movies having, or those animated features having some place that you can go and explore that. For me personally, I'm surprised Moana doesn't have anything yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I don't know what Moana they would do other than a meet and greet.
They did they had, I think because I mean, obviously the songs are very popular from Moana. Obviously you have You're Welcome by, Dwayne Johnson. And then you also have the big song that I'm not really I couldn't tell you what it was called off the top of my head. But you know what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about How Far I'll Go?
Yes, How Far I'll Go. That was obviously a huge song from the picture. So, I mean, I feel like anything for something like Moana, the easy thing to do with that would be to have like, remember when Frozen first came out, they did like a sing-along songs with Olaf, and it was basically like a cast member just with an Olaf hat on his head, basically leading the charge of like songs and stuff. So, but it's good to see they're getting out ahead of it and give it a little bit of a shine to something like Wreck-It Ralph. Which do you enjoy the Wreck-It Ralph movies?
Oh, I love it. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be good stuff. I'm excited as well, and it should be a lot of fun. Kind of piggybacking off that, and then looking at a different rumor that for an attraction that was released earlier this week, if I can pull it up, and I have the Stone Age PC over here, but it was announced on. Hang on a second. It was announced actually earlier today by Tom Corliss over on WDWNT.com. Walt Disney World News Today, that there's a rumor that Mary Poppins will be getting a new attraction. He said, despite rumors of a dark ride being in development, it appears that a Mary Poppins flat ride will instead be the attraction getting added to Epcot's United Kingdom Pavilion. A flat ride, believed to be a spinner a la Dumbo the Flying Elf, although we're holding out for the jolly holiday scenes carousel personally, is in the early stages of development from the World Showcase Pavilion. It is unknown exactly what the theme of the ride will be, but it seems unlikely that the UK Pavilion will be expanded in any way, as was rumored with the addition of the full-blown ride through attraction for Mary Poppins. The ride would likely replace the garden and bandstand area, the back of the existing pavilion. World Showplace would survive in these plans, as it is a profitable venue used for many events, including the Party for the Senses every year. So that's kind of personally speaking, I don't know why, I'm not even 100% sure why, but I kind of like the bandstand area there with in back of the garden. That's a little bit of a bummer that they're getting rid of that, but always good to have an extra attraction, especially in Epcot, which I think in the World Showcase area, they should have an attraction or two. So it says, with the sequel to Mary Poppins being released in theaters later this year, Disney has renewed interest in bringing a Mary Poppins ride to Walt Disney World. Mary Poppins formerly had its own scene in the now closed Great Movie Ride at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So what are your thoughts on Mary Poppins getting her own ride at the UK Pavilion?
I don't really buy it.
I don't think it's going to happen.
It's not that I don't think it's going to happen. It's just that if it does happen, I think it would be a shame, because that area is great. Number one, when a show is going on, it's a great place to kind of just hang out, go and hop into the Rose and Crown, grab a drink, head over and enjoy some live music. And, that's one of the great things about Epcot is you can kind of go through the pavilions and kind of just taste a little bit and kind of check out a little bit about what's going on. And then, you can move on. Like staying a lot in one place for, to go on an attraction like this, especially one that's been done time and time again. Whether it's going to be a carousel or like a Dumbo-esque type ride, I think that would be a huge miss. And it's a great place. Is kind of like, it's reminiscent of that, that like English garden feel, when a show isn't going on, you can kind of just walk around, relax. So I don't necessarily think it's going to happen. It wouldn't be the first time that they tried to put an attraction in the UK and it didn't happen. If you're ever in the area, if you like in that particular actually garden area, if you walk a little bit further back and look to your right, there are a pair of just covered up long podiums that look a lot like Fast Pass Plus touch point podiums because there was going to be a meet and greet, they were going to make a Fast Pass Plus opportunity to do the meet and greet for Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and whoever else is over there. But they just never went through with it. They built the podium and everything. They just never made it an actual attraction. So it wouldn't be the first time that they did something like that. And I don't know. I feel like of all of the rumors that always come out of, oh, this is going to happen at Epcot and that's going to happen at Epcot and that kind of thing, with everything else that's going on at Epcot, with things that are confirmed to be coming along, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I also just feel like, Mary Poppins obviously is an iconic feature, but I just don't know. And I don't know there'd be the big clamoring to get over there, too. Kind of like you said, I mean, there's already the Dumbo ride. You have two different Dumbos. It's the same ride, but you have two different rides that you can go on. You have Magic Carpets, which is similar to Dumbo, and you already have the dinosaur ride, Triceratops Spin, which is also pretty much the exact same thing. So I agree. I don't think that we need another attraction there like that. And I don't know how many people would be rushing to go see a Mary Poppins attraction. No offense to Mary Poppins. I feel like it's just something that I don't see a big clamoring for.
Yeah, but also you did forget my wife's favorite of the spinner attractions, the Astro Orbiter.
You know what? Astro Orbiter, my sister, Kid Sis Meg, the world famous Kid Sis Meg, loves the Astro Orbiter as well. I remember when we were walking, we were running around. It was like our last hour, and my sister was like, "Oh my God, wait, you forgot the Astro Orbiter!" And I kind of turned back and went, "Ha ha," and kept running. And she was like, "No, I'm serious. It's a great ride. It's on top of the park. You get to go up. You get to see everything as you go." And we did it, and it was fun. So I got to agree with both your wife and world famous Kid Sis Meg that it is probably the best of the bunch.
I will say it takes a lot of timing, but if you're ever able to manage getting on to the Astro Orbiter during fireworks, especially when it's the 360 fireworks or the perimeter fireworks that they do during special events, it is one of the it's a really amazing experience because it's one of the places that I used to work. So if I were ever, if I could ever plan it so that I was up top and I was working nights, I would try and time it so that I was up top at Astro Orbiter when the fireworks are going off, because it's really cool to see the fireworks from that high up.
Yeah, that does seem pretty. I can imagine that being, because you're right there in Tomorrowland, you can probably see everything.
Yeah,
the skies kind of just open up there.
Yeah.
One other thing I did want to mention, and I did see that was released, and it started actually this past week, though I do have some questions about it myself. And if I was down in Orlando, I'd make sure I got down there at least for one of these, because it sounds really cool. The debut of the Monday Night Football Tailgate, which debuted at the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival this past week, when my New York Jets smacked around the Detroit Lions. And then I think there was another game after that. But the only one you need to remember is that the Jets got a big W over the Detroit Lions. But Food and Wine Tailgate, hosted by ESPN's Monday Night Football, is coming to Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. Fans will be able to enjoy a complimentary 45-minute program focused on pairing tailgate-inspired foods and drinks. Guests will enjoy a flight of 3 food samples. My Lord, this sounds great. Inspired by the cities of the teams playing at ESPN's Monday Night Football that week. along with 3 beverages. During the program, culinary experts will discuss the preparation of these dishes. The event runs Mondays in September and October in the Festival Center from 4:30 to 5:15. Guests can pick up a wristband to attend the festival starting at 9 a.m. each day. Have you heard about this?
I heard. I saw the same blog post, and it's such a cool, and that's what I love about the Food and Wine Festival, is that there's so much else that they do with it other than just the little pavilions that are in the World Showcase, that they have the opportunity to kind of spread out a little bit and do this kind of thing. And it sounds like a really cool thing. If it wasn't for the fact that you had to get a wristband at 9 a.m., and probably you do, you probably have to be there, make sure that you are there for rope drop and make sure that you go and make a beeline for that area. If it wasn't for that fact, I would totally try and check this out, but I don't think I'll have the opportunity to do that.
That's actually a good point. You're right, because if you don't have that, too, if they're saying you're getting free food, it doesn't really matter what the idea is, but that you're getting complimentary food and drink, folks are going to be making a beeline to get out there for rope drop, and especially being on a Monday, if you're not on vacation, it's probably a relatively tough thing to do. One thing they don't really mention, though, is are you able to then watch the game anywhere?
Well, the thing is that it's so early. It's from 4:30 to 5:15. So I don't think you would, because there's unless they're going to bring in special TVs. To my knowledge, there won't be anywhere else.
5:15. You're still about 3 hours away from kickoff. So
yeah. So what you could always do is, once you pregame there, you could always mosey on over to the SPM Club over at the Boardwalk, which is very close to Epcot, one of my 5 restaurants from last week, and you go over and watch the game there.
Yeah, it sounds incredible. I will say, I think one of the top things you'd want to, if I'm Walt Disney World there, I am pumping up that ESPN Center. Hey, make sure you're up there to watch. Now, the center probably closes, though, before ESPN Club probably closes before the games are over, though, right?
I don't think so.
Probably not, actually. The games also are on ESPN, so I can't imagine that they'd get rid of the game so early there. But that is something that I do think is pretty cool. And if you follow us over on Twitter at Disney101pod, let me know what the inspired dishes are for each city. I think that's one of the coolest things. I would have loved to know kind of what those dishes were for the Jets and for the Lions there, kind of what they had. So I'll try my best to track these things down, try to talk with some of you guys, and figure some things out so that I can talk about it here on the show each week, because I think that's something really cool and a little bit different there that Disney's doing. And actually, if you guys do want, they even have a little schedule down here of the games that you can kind of get excited about over the next couple of days. So obviously the September 10th games are done, but next up this Monday is Seattle Seahawks at Chicago Bears. And you got Pittsburgh Steelers at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Could be the final game for Fitzmagic, so make sure you get down for that one. October 1st, Kansas City Chiefs at Denver Broncos, big divisional matchup. October 8th, Steve, pay attention to this one here. Listen to this one. Washington Redskins at New Orleans Saints on Monday night.
Yeah.
That might be the one.
I'm going to check my schedule and see if I know there's 1 or 2 days coming up that I have I have a teacher work day or something. So maybe I'll see if maybe we can work something out there.
Well, October 8th is also it's Columbus Day as well. So you might be able to make something work there. But let me take a quick look. I don't know what that last one is, but the last one is on the 15th. It does appear that I've lost the article. So you'll have to kind of do a little there you go. Got it. The last game there, just for continuity's sake, is Niners at Packers. Another great game. Niners have some high hopes every time, assuming Aaron Rodgers is good to go. That could be fun. So definitely check that out. And again, hit us up on Twitter at Disney101pod and let us know what you guys see over there. So check us out and let us know. All right.
I want to know from you real quick. What I want to know from you is, based on what you would think you would be getting for those particular games, which one do you think you would be the most excited for?
Oh, of the different tailgates?
Yeah, like so because of the fact that if you're gonna be getting food that's kind of in relation to those particular cities.
There's some legit good ones there. I mean, right off the bat, you got to figure this Monday you might get some deep dish pizza inspired food for Chicago.
Either that or some sort of like bratwurst or some sort of like hot dog,
Yeah,
with some good stuff on it. I think personally, just real quick, I would go with October 1st because Kansas City Chiefs. There's got to be some good barbecue there.
absolutely. And I mean that Redskins New Orleans one. New Orleans is known for their crabfish and
Yeah, some
gumbo
Cuban
and
food. Yeah, that would actually be
roast.
pretty good too. I don't know what I mean for the Redskins. I don't know. Maybe they'd have maybe some other sort of seafood there too. It'd probably be something with crabs or something since they do play in Maryland.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know that you're right. That one would be tough. The Green Bay Packers. There's going to be some cheese curds. Gotta
Oh
have
yeah,
cheese
yeah.
curds.
You got to.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. What a fun little thing there that Disney's doing, and you gotta love the fact that ESPN covers the Monday Night Game. Well, let's be honest, some of those matchups are okay. The Monday Night Game is probably in ranks of importance like third or fourth on the list, but you gotta love that. Hey, ESPN airs the game. Might as well promote it if you're Disney and encourage folks to come down and check out Monday Night Football little tailgate.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty cool.
absolutely.
All right. Well, is there anything else you wanted to get in on the news, or did you want to move into our main crux, I guess, so to speak, of the show?
No, I think I'm ready.
All right. Well, before we did get started, and because this is a little bit of usually we like to try to keep things a little PG. Obviously, this episode we're going to be talking about adult beverages and where you'd like to go get a drink. Obviously, we always encourage folks to do so responsibly. But we did decide that we'll get into kind of the I guess spirit of things, so to speak, and get us a beverage to get started as well. So Steve, what are you drinking for this episode?
I'm drinking a Kona Brewing Company Golden Pale Ale.
There you go. I was really hoping it wasn't going to be like I'm really drinking a good old fashioned Coors Light, and nothing against Coors Light. That's one of my favorite beverages, but I was really hoping it was something else and not like, I went and I got, PBR to get us going here. So
Yeah.
I personally am going with my favorite here, and I know you can get this actually in the Germany pavilion in Epcot, the Schaffhofer Hefeweiss grapefruit beer, one of my favorites. You can tell half of it's already gone. Every time Steve's on the screen, I've been sneaking a little sipski there on the side. So we'll say cheers as we get going on our favorite places to drink in Walt Disney World. And Steve, explain to everyone how we're going to do this, how we're kind of going to break this down.
Well, so I was originally going to go because a couple of these places are like, if we're going place is kind of an interesting term because I could go and say, oh, my favorite place is Epcot and, just end the conversation there. Or my favorite place is Disney Springs because, you can go to Epcot and just, there's 20 different places. So I asked you off air how many just lounges you thought there were. Now, this does not include restaurants where you can go and get a beverage. This doesn't include, your kind of pop-up stands, if you will. These are still physical lounges and, places that some of them are going to have like small bites and that kind of stuff. And some of them are attached to other restaurants. But I asked you how many lounges you thought there were by name at the Walt Disney World Resort. And what was your guess?
My guess was 25, which I thought was pretty high on that guess. I guess we'll see here.
Well, do you want to change that?
I'm gonna go with maybe 40. Well, let's go 40.
Still no. Still not high enough.
Wow. How many are there?
There are 54.
Oh my God, 54 different lounges.
54 different places that are categorized as lounges. Now, like I said, a lot of them are going to be, this isn't including kind of, like pool bars and that kind of stuff. And some of them are attached to other actual restaurants. But still, a lot of them are standalone places. And it's going through the list, it was hard to pick just five. And so I did deviate a little bit from my original idea, which was going to be just pick five lounges, because some of the places that I have on my list aren't considered lounges per se. So some of them are actual like bars or whatnot. So I've kind of tried to limit myself, and I picked three from Epcot and three from Disney Springs, because those are like two places where you can just kind of go, oh, I'm going to go to Epcot and be done with it.
Right. Well, you certainly, if your main goal is simply to quote unquote drink around the world, you could just go to Epcot, have yourself a whole hibbity doo of a good time, and just go place to place to place. So sounds good though. Sounds good. So what is the first one on your list?
So I would say I'm going to start with Epcot just because it was the first one that I thought of, and my bar crawl, if you will, of Epcot would be, let's see. Well, I guess I could go, and you're going to start as you do in Cava del Tequila in Mexico, because a lot of people. So when you first enter into Mexico, to your left there is a small kind of it's a kiosk or a podium or whatever you want to call it, that has pre-done frozen margaritas that are really good. But if you want to go and get something a little bit more special and a little bit heavier, you can go inside the pyramid that's there in Mexico. Go inside, and then as you go to the right, you're going to see a little. You could almost miss it if there's not a huge line, which a lot of times there is. But it's Cava del Tequila, and it has great mixed drinks. You can get like chips and salsa and guac and that kind of stuff if you want to sit down. But the stars there are the signature margaritas, and they can get really crazy. There's like a cucumber one. There's my favorite is the horchata, where it has like horchata and it has like a spicy salt rim on it, and it's like chili powder, and it's really good.
Yeah, I will say that the Mexican Pavilion was on my list as well. It's there's just so many different kind of ambiances you can get while enjoying a beverage there. If you go outside, as you mentioned, those frozen margaritas, I do enjoy those. And I love just the idea of like, you're getting to see everyone either going into, you can hang out there, drink right outside of the big pyramid, see everyone coming into the World Showcase, or folks leaving the World Showcase, which I think is really cool. Then you also have, you can do that. Then you can go inside of the Mexican Pavilion and you can enjoy a drink either in the what was the place you had said, the little like bar area?
Cava del Tequila.
Cava del Tequila, and you can go there, have like your standard bar type atmosphere, or you can just take your beverage, drink it right outside by where the big restaurant is out there, and you can kind of see the slow boat ride for the Donald Duck and the Three Caballeros, one of my favorite attractions. And you can go there and kind of just take that all in, see the stuff they have there. The last time we were down there, I believe everything in the Mexican Pavilion was all set up for, remember it was all like themed?
Which part was?
There was like something where like they had like all those, the big skeleton thing. I think it was from a.
It's for Coco. It's for the movie Coco. But everything is it's themed after, but everything is still Day of the Dead themes. Like it's Day of the Dead, but it's because of the movie Coco, but everything is Day of the Dead themed.
Gotcha.
Inside. Which it always kind of was a little bit, but they just said, oh, okay, now that Coco has been released, we're going to actually go forward a little bit more with it and kind of go a little bit more to it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So yeah, that was on my list as well. Love going there. And that's always a good way to kind of start your time. When we did the bachelor party, that was where we all kind of got started. And it's also great too, because you always have someone there who's either doesn't want to drink or something. What's always great about those options is there's really good themed food in those particular pavilions. So Mexican Pavilion was on my list as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Also, the empanadas and everything that are at that outside bar or at that outside stand are also really good. All the food there. I mean, I love Mexican food, so I mean, I've never had a bad meal. I've gone everywhere actually in that Mexican pavilion. I've eaten at the quick service restaurant. I've eaten at the snack stand there, and I've eaten at both San Angel Inn and La Hacienda de San Angel. So I've eaten everywhere, and I've never had a bad meal.
Good stuff.
Do you want to go next, or should I complete my bar crawl first?
Well, I'm gonna kind of go. So, like, because mine was one of those as well, I'm gonna kind of jump in, kind of piggyback off yours, and then if there's anything that was on my list that you didn't touch on, I'll kind of circle back to it.
Sure.
So, what is next up on your trip through Epcot there? Or I mean, if you want, I could throw mine, and I wonder if yours is the same.
I don't know if it would be, but so my next would be if you're making your trip around the world going from Mexico, you're kind of going to be going a little bit ways away, so you might need another pit stop in between here. But I would, once you wind up in Japan, if you head straight back into the pavilion, just go head straight back and then enter in on your left, you're going to see that there's a sake bar there. And it's one of we always go there for a pit stop to enjoy some sake.
Oh yeah, the sake in the Japanese pavilion is tremendous. There's always different flavored ones. It's good stuff there in that particular that place. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then last, you're going to end in probably my actual favorite place in Epcot. It's the Rose and Crown Bar. It's great. It's got the great theming of that, kind of proper English pub, and you can get some really cool mixed drinks like a snake bite or a black and tan or a black velvet. A lot of those kind of mixed beer drinks that you don't necessarily get a lot of places, or you don't think to get, but you're kind of when in London, you're going to go and get a Guinness and a cider or something like that.
Yeah, that was on my list for sure. It's one of my favorite places. It's fun because of the fact that I feel like it can provide you with a break from it almost feels like it's almost like a break from your day at Epcot going there. Like, that's totally a place, like, if it was right down the street, I'd make sure I went there all the time. Like, it's phenomenal. And the fact that you're able to mix a couple different beers together and they encourage that is really cool. We had a blast there at my bachelor party. That's where we all went. I mean, we're kind of doing the drink around the world thing. Everyone was trying different things, putting things together. And then the last time around, when I needed a few minutes away from my in-laws, it was good to go there as well and to get a couple of drinks. Hopefully my wife's not tuning into this particular episode. But if you need a little break from the family, you can go there and get yourself a quick drink and have some time there. So good stuff all around. That was a lot of fun there. I always have a good time there. And the food, if I'm not remember, the food was pretty banger too the last time we went.
Yeah, actually, yeah. If you go into the actual, so you can kind of get some small, like your typical bar food or finger food or whatever. You can get like fish and chips or just the regular chips or whatever. But the Rose and Crown dining room, if you go and just have a sit down meal there, it's actually really good. It's kind of one of those overlooked places that I don't think a lot of people go to because of just there's a lot other more, I guess, exotic, you could say, food. And, people that are coming from the States, they kind of want to try something a little bit more exotic. And there are a lot of British tourists that when you're coming, the first thing that you want isn't going to be fish and chips. It's going to be something more exotic. So I feel like a lot of times it gets overlooked, but it's still going to be it's really great food.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right. So what were you were saying you were going to go over and do you were going to move things over to Disney Springs. If there's one I could throw in there, and unfortunately I don't think they had this in the Epcot Pavilion the last time that we were there. They had the shot that you can take in Norway that I believe they moved to either outside or wasn't there at all the last time we went. But that
I don't know where it went.
Yeah, that one I'm not huge on shots at all, but that one was nasty. And when you took it. It was just such a great time because of the fact that the cast members who were there would all count you down in Norwegian, 10, 9, 8, 7, and you had to keep yourself a straight face before being able to wince. And I thought that was lot of fun and really cool. And one thing that I also appreciate somewhat at the pavilions is that they do not accept tips, which was interesting to me, and I thought was really kind of they didn't want tips. They refused to take them, so it was interesting.
Well, that is going to be true for most of the cart because so when you are just a food and beverage cast member who basically when it's just your job to pull the handle or to pour the drink or whatever when it's a measured thing or whatever and just give it to someone, then no, you're just a regular food and beverage cast member and you are not you're considered a non-tipped role. So we're not going to accept tips, just like any, if you were to go up to, someone that's working at Splash Mountain and try to give them a tip, they're not going to accept it. But if you are going into a proper bar, for example, like Cava del Tequila or like Rose and Crown, if you're going into a proper bar and there's an actual bartender that's mixing drinks and that kind of stuff, there you're going to tip like you would if you're in a regular bar because those are actual proper bartenders. So they are tipped cast members that can accept tips.
There you go. Good thing you cleared that up because do not tip when you go to the right. Now that does make a lot of sense. That does make sense. Yeah. That you're right about.
But yeah. But speaking of which, yeah, I'm going to head over to Disney Springs, and I'm going to do. I would start I'll start my bar crawl with the newest, or at least newest to me, bar that has come to Disney Springs, and that's Wine Bar George, which is a 2-story lounge with the emphasis on wine. I don't even think they actually serve a whole lot else because, you're going to a wine bar, so the emphasis is on the wine. And they have a lot of different variations. They have everything from, your $6 or $7 pour to all the way up to a couple $100 if you want a nice, either glass or bottle of wine. And it runs the gambit, and they also have some small bites there too. So it was a really cool, chill atmosphere. They were playing some really good music when we were there. It was, like the good 90s and 2000s alternative selection. So the atmosphere was really cool. The drinks were really good, and we had a really good time there.
Awesome. Very, very cool. And that one is called?
It's called Wine Bar George. So it's on the same. It's right across from the Boathouse and Doc Lindsay's Hangar Bar and like that kind of area. So it's on the same block, if you will, of like Raglan Road, but it's going to be when you're walking kind of towards the water.
Okay, very, very cool. If I wanted to kind of throw one out that I thoroughly enjoy in a place, I always like to kind of get a drink. And I don't know if I doubt this is on your list. This is why I have no problem kind of throwing it out there. I really like the outdoor area outside of Splitsville to grab a quick drink. I feel like you walk right in there. That's usually if you're coming from that entrance, one of the first places you see upon entering Disney Springs. And again, that idea of you can hang out outside, you can see everyone either, usually super stoked and super excited to go and be at Walt Disney World, usually because Disney Springs is either usually the first thing you do on your trip or the last thing. As we suggested, it should be the first thing. But it's fun to kind of go, and check that out. And a lot of times, too, they'll offer you different shooters to put inside of your drinks, depending what you get, and encourage you to kind of take those. And then you can always go inside and play a couple games, too, if you're over there.
Yeah, which actually we planned on doing tomorrow. So.
Oh, there you go. Very cool. Now I'm jealous. I wish I was down in Orlando. I would have joined you guys for a couple of games. But nice.
Yeah. So I was kind of torn between if I was going to only pick 3 places. I was kind of torn between picking this next one or picking the Hole in the Wall bar at Raglan Road. But I feel like we talked so much about Raglan Road last week, or on our last show, that I had to go a little bit different, and I'm going with the Front Porch at Chef Art Smith's Homecoming, which we've gone to on numerous occasions because it is technically its own bar area that you can kind of just sit outside and again grab some small stuff, or the big thing about Chef Art Smith's Homecoming, especially with the Front Porch, are these wow, I'm lost on what they're actually called. The moonshine cocktails. I had a brain fart for a second. So they're moonshine cocktails, which it's not the kind of up in the hills, rum runner, moonshine that's going to turn you blind. It's actual proper moonshine, and it's really good. And they do a great job of mixing the flavors and stuff. Plus, if you are a local like I am, you can get the souvenir cup, and if you get the souvenir cup and then go back, the refills are a little bit cheaper.
Oh wow! Well, there you go. That's always cool. It's always. I feel like when you're at Disney, whatever deals you can get, you should always go ahead and do that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to finish off with definitely my favorite place to go, both to just hang out, to grab a small bite, or to enjoy a nice adult beverage, is Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar, because just the food, the drinks, the atmosphere, and the theming, it hits all four things, and it's done phenomenally. And the service is also number 5. The service is also always really cool, so it's always a good time there.
There you go. And have we been to that one when I've gone down?
We did. So we went on your bachelor party, but I don't think you remember it.
I might not. Might be guilty as charged on that one.
Yeah, that was our last stop before we actually headed up. Before you went and got lost and went on your little adventure. But yeah, no, it was everybody else that was there that actually remembers it enjoyed it. So.
Well, there you go. And I do recall the hole in the wall bar over at Raglan Road. Obviously, we did talk a little bit about that, but that one is good because it's the same type of food you can get at Raglan Road, right?
At the Hole in the Wall bar? So the Hole in the Wall bar is going to be next to Cooks of Dublin, which Cooks of Dublin is the quick service restaurant that is attached to Raglan Road. So it's not going to be the same exact food, but it's the same kitchen. So number one, they can make a lot of the stuff gluten-free as well there, which was always a plus, when my wife and I go out. But also you can take any of the food that you get from Cooks of Dublin and bring it over to the Hole in the Wall bar in their open seating area there.
Oh, wow. That's good to know. Good to know. So does that include your top choices of places to drink in Walt Disney World?
No, that was just Epcot and Disney Springs. I still have
gotcha. I was going to say,
I don't have a problem.
I know there's at least one more that I thoroughly enjoyed that I thought would have been on your list, but was not. So surprised.
And I what I did this week is similar to what I did last week. Was I was kind of guessing what you were going to put on your list, so I kind of tried to make up my list, knowing that there were going to be a couple of things that we might have had in common. So I tried to come up with some spares. So I want to hear a couple of things from your list before I go too deep in mine.
Well, the first couple ones from my list were obviously, we spoke about Splitsville. We spoke about the Mexican Pavilion. We spoke about the bar in the English Pavilion, which is called
Rose and Crown.
Rose and Crown. Excellent. Like that place. And I also, one of the other places that I did put on my list is actually, and I know you're gonna roll your eyes. Everyone usually does. I enjoy getting a bit of the safari brew over at the Animal Kingdom. I don't know if it's just because it just seems like it fits in kind of with the theming of when you're in Animal Kingdom, you've got to have a safari brew. But I always do make sure to get one every time I go to Animal Kingdom. And I know that we kind of know what beer that is. But at the same time, I always enjoy going there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to stay at Animal Kingdom, so my favorite place to go to Animal Kingdom is definitely the Nomad Lounge, which is attached to both of our favorite restaurant, Tiffin's.
Wow.
So yeah, the Nomad Lounge is the other little area that you can go to. One, you can go there if you are waiting to be seated at Tiffin's, or two, you can just go there just to hang out. There's an outdoor seating area. There's an inside seating area. And again, you can get some really good small plate food there. Some tapas, and they have a full bar, and they also have some really good mixed drinks there, and a fairly decent looking wine and bar list as well.
Oh wow. There you go. That place, I don't know that we've been to that one, but it does. I think I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've actually. I can't remember if we had a drink before end up going to dinner when we took you and Eric out, but if we did, that's where we went.
Gotcha. Makes sense. And then the other one that I wanted to kind of touch on is the time that we all, we went to the Magic Kingdom, and then we took the boat over to the Polynesian and went to Trader Sam's, which is my favorite place to drink at Walt Disney World. I just think that the theming's off the charts, and was totally unexpected, that particular place. I think, honestly, the reason why I was so surprised by how good it was because of its name. Trader Sam's doesn't necessarily seem like something that's going to be very, very good. But it was. The small plates were great. Everyone gets into it, and the folks who have been there more than once will chant along with everything that's being said. And it's a production. It's a fun time, and you're just kind of waiting on edge there for everyone to order the different types of the different options that are there, so you can kind of chant along and get excited about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if I hadn't known that you were going to put Trader Sam's on your list, that's definitely number one in my book too, because of all the reasons that you said.
And you have a variety of I don't even know what you call them, but
the souvenir cups. Yeah,
the souvenir cups. Have you gotten all of them at this point?
No, because that is very expensive. And so we do have quite a few though, and I think from what I heard that they've actually released a new set or a new series. So we haven't been back recently, so we'll definitely check that out soon and report back.
Yeah, and the Polynesian. I mean, it really is one of the really cool resorts, as we've said in the past, because of the fact you have a quick service for people. If you want, you can go have your sit down restaurant right there, and at the same time, you have Trader Sam's. You can go get a drink and just hang out. But I will suggest, as Steve thankfully was with and helped us out, we got there super early and we were able to get a table, because it did seem that if you were not there super early, you would not be able to get in, because it is very small. And if a lot of people are doing their thing and are already on there, then you would, like if there's so many people already in there, they have to wait for them to finish and clear out before you can get in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think they open at 4 maybe, or either 4 or 6. But yeah, if it's something that you definitely know, if it's a must do for you, definitely try and get there early, because there is usually a list. There's usually a line to get in, and it fills up very quickly because it's not a big space, because they did want to try and keep the theming down to a minimum, and they wanted to keep it intimate, and they wanted to keep it special. So with all those things in mind, they had to make it and also there's not a lot of room in the Polynesian for a huge place like that, at least downstairs. So they wanted to make sure that they at least they kept it special and they kept it small,
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. And it's a great place to go to. I can't recommend it enough. To be a part of everyone's stay. The kids that go there too, that are there with their parents, seem to have a great time with all the different parts of the exhibit and all the way the bartenders act, and it's a lot of fun. So go check it out.
And so I had a really tough time choosing between these two. So I'm just going to say that this is number 4 for both of them, because I really enjoyed my time at both of these places. The first being at a little known place, at least in my mind, to the Abracadabra over at the Boardwalk. It's relatively new. It came in with the past couple of years when that area of the Boardwalk went through a little bit of a reimagining. But the Abracadabra is set in kind of that, like the golden age of magicians and that kind of, that vaudeville stage performance atmosphere. So there's a lot of, like retro pictures, and, you got that retro phonograph music going on, and a lot of the mixed drinks, that's kind of the signature there is, again, the mixed drinks. And everything is kind of themed after, like that golden age of magic and magicians and that kind of thing. So it's really cool. And it's a really good atmosphere. There aren't a lot of, that's more of a just drinks place, that, you go have a drink, and, if you're going there, what we did actually last time we went was we went and had a drink there, and then we went over to, I believe that's when we went either over to the Yachtsman. No, that's when we went to Ale and Compass, when Ale and Compass reopened. So we went and kind of had a quick thing, quick drink over at Abracadabra. Then we went over to the Ale and Compass for dinner.
There you go. Well, and you think both those are kind of in conjunction with one another, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, Ale and Compass is it's you can actually go there's a lounge in the Ale and Compass as well. But we at the time we really wanted to check out Abracadabra, but we were going to dinner at Ale and Compass, so we figured we'd kind of kill two birds with one stone. And I know for speaking for my wife, she loved Abracadabra a lot more than Ale and Compass. But I think that kind of went down to what she had for dinner. Uh, but I liked both experiences just fine. But no, my other one that I was kind of split between Abracadabra and this other one is actually over at Hollywood Studios. It's the Baseline Tap House, and it's over if you remember Hollywood Studios at all a little bit. They had to close down a lot of the streets of America to make way for the Star Wars expansion. So a lot of it went away, but there's one little kind of nook that is still there, and that has been turned into the Baseline Tap House, which someone built it as basically it's flights and bites, which I think perfectly summarizes the Baseline Tap House because you can get a lot of different selections of mostly West Coast beer, so it's stuff that doesn't make it to this side of the country a lot of times. But so there's like, for example, when you get a flight. As according to the Walt Disney World website, prices could vary, but it's $11 for 4 different beers of your choice for 5-ounce pours each. And the cool thing is you get little almost trading card looking things.
Yeah, look at that! Of course, now I'm on the screen.
Yeah. So you can get these fun little kind of it's almost a collector's item, or it's a little kind of included souvenir that you can get that it says it's that fun it's almost like it's hard heavy cardboard cardstock, and it's kind of like that reflective material, almost like if you would get a shiny like a special baseball card, or like a foiled like special Pokemon card or something. It's kind of that shine to it. And it lists the name, the type of beer, where it's from, and all of the relevant beer information for beer connoisseurs. And also the food that you're going to get, like Bavarian style pretzels with mustard and a beer cheese dip. That was also really good. So that was all around. Actually, I was pleasantly surprised by the tap house because it was such a there wasn't a lot of fanfare when it came out, and I hadn't heard a lot coming out of it. But going there, I was definitely pleasantly surprised at the experience.
Yeah, that sounds really, really cool. And I think that one of the things that is great is when you do go and Disney does give you those different types of souvenirs or something to take home with you, and you're kind of getting a little extra there. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I had planned on us going over there when we went over to Hollywood Studios, but I don't think it was either the time didn't really sync up, and I think we kind of cut our trip short there, so we didn't have an opportunity. But there's always next time.
Absolutely, and as always, I think that Hollywood Studios too, it's something now that is obviously being revamped, and they're getting a lot more people to go over there, and the more stuff that they do have to get over there, you might have a better chance to go and get a drink over there, because there probably won't be a lot of people over towards Toy Story Land, Star Wars Land, and everything else that's coming down the pike at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah. So I have one left, and I guess it's more of kind of almost like an honorable mention than anything else, because it's not that the drinks or anything else necessarily that you're getting is going to blow you away. But I love going to the water parks, either Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach, getting some adult beverages and just chilling out in the lazy river.
Oh, so you could go and get adult beverages over in the water park and bring them on the ride?
You can't bring them onto the lazy river, but if you set yourself up close enough, it's almost the same thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, it was one of our favorite things to do, especially when we worked for the company. We were able to get into the water parks for free. If we had a day off, we would go, check out the water parks, and the good thing is it's not like when you're in New York City, for example, and you have to take a long trip out to get to Splish Splash. You don't have to take a hour and a half long trip all the way out to Riverhead to enjoy a water park. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of the water parks I've been to, you don't even have the option to drink while you're there. So that's really it's really Walt's vision for it being a dry park has really kind of gone by the wayside. Other than kind of the Magic Kingdom, even though they're kind of adopting that as well.
Well, I mean, it's I don't think he ever said, okay, no drinking anywhere ever in any of my parks. But yeah, he wanted to keep it at family parks, at Disneyland, for example, definitely. And over at, Magic Kingdom, that's why, you kind of, even though, as you can see, I'm a fan of alcoholic beverages, but, you keep that one spot dry and, there's nothing wrong with it. But, I'm not going to get off on a tangent there.
No, I completely agree with you. I've had many a great time in indulging while at Epcot or at the parks. And, at the same time, though, it's still a family park. And you want to kind of have that imagination. I did not give the disclaimer earlier, but if you do plan on going down to the Mexican Pavilion, if you do have a couple of adult beverages, probably not a good idea to ride the Donald Duck and the Three Caballeros ride immediately following that. Save that for another time. I wouldn't know, but I'm just saying it's probably not a great idea.
Yeah.
But that is basically our list for. I mean, was that the end of your list there?
That was the end of my list. Yeah,
that was the end. Honestly, you could tell that food gets a lot of praise from folks who go to Disney World. I feel like it's right below or right next to attractions in terms of what people are most interested in about going to Walt Disney World. But some folks thoroughly enjoy drinking, and we figured we'd do this show. If you did enjoy your drinking, and hopefully it was there, and you were able to kind of do that, and you enjoyed our episode. So let us know what your favorite places to drink at Walt Disney World are. Let us know if you agree with us. If you think that one of our places isn't particularly great, tell us that as well. Let us know in the comment section below or over on Twitter at Disney101pod. And you can hit me up on Twitter at Tommy on the Spot. And you can also, Steve, you also have a Twitter as well?
Yeah, Twitter is SteveCJ556. And then as always, millennial_Falcon27 on Instagram.
Very cool. Is there anything else that you wanted to plug as well? Hopefully you'll be able to get us some photos, maybe from your trip over to Splitsville tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'll definitely do that. And if I can remember, I'll upload the pictures that I took from at Food One Festival the other night. It's a lot of it wasn't necessarily very photogenic, and with the light and everything, but I'll do my best up here.
Very cool. Very cool. And if you do, I'll throw a quick plug in there. If you are a football fan, since we mentioned it earlier, hit me up on Twitter at Tommy on the Spot. Over on kind of my other YouTube page, specifically for the vlogs that my wife and I do at Tom Mary Vlogs. I'm going to be doing a little football show similar to this one with different picks and different survivor pool advice for folks that are doing that. And a lot of people took a bruising in our survivor pool last week, so that might be something you want to take a look at and check out. So follow me over there for the information on that. And that's going to do it for us this week. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Steve?
No, just, have a magical week, and we'll see you next time.
That's right. We will see you next week right here on Disney 101. And until next time, everybody, we're going to sign off for now. But thank you so much, and take care.